Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition, and for tonight's headlines, we have the acting Prime Minister chairs the National Conference on Population and Development. For the international scene in Canada, elects its Member of Parliament. Welcome to our newsroom. President Anglais expected in Sochi, where the first Russia-Africa summit will be held. Sochi is a subtropical city in Russia, located in the Krasnodar Krai on the northeast coast of the Black Sea. South of Moscow is an important transport hub and a major economic and cultural center. On Wednesday, 23, Thursday, 24 October 2019, Sochi will host the first ever Russia-Africa summit, which will be attended by the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, who will lead a large Djibouti delegation. The city will also host an economic forum bringing together key African and Russian leaders as well as representatives of major companies. Trade economic investment agreement should be signed. The forum will focus on key areas of cooperation between Russia and African countries. The discussions are structured around three thematic pillars: forging economic links, creating a common project, and collaborating in the humanitarian and social sectors. The summit should deepen friendly relations between the Russian Federation and the countries of the African continent. At the bilateral and multilateral level, forges closer collaborators on regional and international issues of common interest, raise the strategic dialogue between Russia and African countries to a qualitatively higher level, and contribute to peace, security, sustainable development on the African continent. Tomorrow, Tuesday, October 23, Japan will hold the enthronement of the new Emperor Naruhito, who succeeds his father Akihito, who will abdicate in his favor. This event of crucial importance for the Japanese people who have entered a new era following abdication. Hundreds of foreign delegations are expected to attend the grand ceremony at the Emperor's Palace in Tokyo. The Republic of Djibouti will be officially represented by the Prime Minister Abdulkader Kamil Mohammed. For more details on the introduction with the ceremony, the Ambassador of Djibouti to Japan, Mr. Ahmed Araita Ali, about the importance of the introduction of the new emperor and the prospect for cooperation between Japan and the Republic of Djibouti. Betting on the futurist woman at the head of sustainable development was the theme of the inaugural sessions of the National Conference on Population and Development that opened this morning at the People's Palace under the aegis of the Minister of Justice and Acting Prime Minister Ali Hassan Bahdon. This high-level conference was organized by the Ministry of Women and Family in partnership with the International Organization for Migration and UNFPA. This high-level conference is part of the 25th anniversary of the International Conference on Population and Development, the CDIP, revolutionary programs of action that had several components, including women's rights and reproductive health in national and international economic, political development effort. The objective of this conference will be to strengthen the commitment of the government of Djibouti and that all of the partners and stakeholders by establishing national and even regional dialogue on the global themes of population and development. During these days, several themes will be discussed. This conference will create a space for exchanges with regional partners on the best policies, strategies, and actions to be undertaken, but also stimulate the commitment of political decision makers and the partnership between the government, technical and financial partners, civil society organizations, parliamentarians, religious leaders, women's and youth organizations, community actors, and private sector. This conference was attended by government members, international organizations, diplomatic corps, and civil society. The two representatives of UNFPA and international organizations, but also the vice presidents of UNFPA, all three stressed the relevance of the population and development paradigms and importance in order to take population's issue into account in the planning process for development. For her part, the Minister of Women and Family, Ms. Momina Ahmed Hassan, pointed out that in order to conduct strategic reflections to accelerate the care's promises, it's necessary to work with all levels of society to reach a general consensus based on a common vision. For his part, the acting Prime Minister said that the commitments made at the International Conference on Population Development must be taken into account. He went on to point out that the time has come for the government to commit itself, in particular, to strengthen the program's actions in order to achieve the objectives of sustainable development. We have here a special guest, Mr. François Farah. Welcome, Mr. François.
Thank you.
Mr. François Farah is an international expert in population gender development. He is of Canadian and expert with Lebanese origin. He will stay just 2 days in Djibouti. And my first question is what are the objectives of this conference, Mr. Farah?
As you just mentioned, the International Conference on Population and Development was adopted in 1994. Today is 25 years after that conference. This conference was not the first conference. It was a third international conference after 2 earlier conferences. The difference is that this conference brought about a very progressive agenda based on issues of rights, issues on concept of reproductive health, and issues of sustainability. Today, Djibouti took the lead in organizing this very high-level conference and probably is the only Arab country that has decided to take the lead with this conference. The objectives of the conference is definitely to review the progress that has been made, but also to identify the areas where further work is still required. And one of the areas that are of extreme relevance to Djibouti is the demographic dividend. To be very brief, a demographic dividend is the window through which a population invests in the new generation in a way in which when this new generation comes to the productive age, they will be better equipped to add wealth and quality of life to the population.
And what are the different points you will set up during this conference?
That's a very interesting question. There are actually several areas of intervention the conference will consider. In terms of the health sector, the education sector, the labor force sector, and that all these sectors through the lens of gender and women in development and girls and women. To what extent Djibouti is today in a position to enable all its population, particularly women, to catch up with development across all areas of development, education, health, employment, so that the dividend is not only in terms of economics, but also in terms of quality of life and also social cohesion and social equality.
And what do you think about Djibouti's evolutions, gender's evolution?
Djibouti indeed has done a tremendous job and made a lot of efforts, and over the last at least 10 to 15 years, there has been a number of concrete programs that have helped mainstream issues of women. We've seen a greater access of girls and women to education, to health, particularly sexual and reproductive health, a great deal of information, of communication, of access. Probably some of the challenges for Djibouti is to ensure that those areas that are more in need would require a little bit more effort and intervention and action, and definitely to capitalize on the progress that has been made and to move on for the next. And I would like to say that this conference happens also almost 5 years after the adoption of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. And before Djibouti now is a greater opportunity to incorporate the ICPD program of action into the SDGs and move forward with its development and human development for the rights and the dignity of the people of Djibouti.
Thank you, Mr. Francois. Mr. Francois is an international expert in population, gender and development. Thank you, Mr. A high-level meeting was held this Monday morning at the Institute of Diplomatic Studies. It was chaired by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation with the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity, bringing together members of the government, technical and financial partners, and accredited embassies in the Republic of Djibouti. The two ministers wish to thank the representative present at this event and to ensure that they could be involved in this advocacy work. On this occasion is the partnership between the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity. The World Food Programme was highlighted around the National Social Protection Strategy and the strategic plan. The Minister of Social For her part, the Minister of Social Affairs, Ms. Muna Usman Aden, pointed out that this national strategy is the subject of a law of the Republic that concretely follows the policies and visions of the head of state, Ismail Omar Guelleh. For his part, the Djibouti head of diplomacy, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, said he was pleased to see the partner groups present on this meeting table and to make these contributions to social protection policy in the Republic of Djibouti. In an interview with our colleague Ali Abdullahi, the Minister of Women, the Minister of Social Affairs, Muna Usman Aden, she said that these meetings of partner groups on social protections consist in the adoption of a law on social protection and thus creating the social and solidarity economy in Djibouti. This law specifies that it regulates the sectors by strengthening productive solidarity through cooperative and all other entities of the social and solidarity economies. The Minister of Economy and Finance, Ilyas Musa Dawale, and the World Bank Vice President for the Middle East and North Africa signed a $28 million financing package for the education sectors on Friday, October 18. More detail with Idris Mahmoud.
The Minister of Economic and Finance, Mr. Ilyas Musa Dawale, and the World Bank Vice President for Middle East and North Africa signed 29 million financing package for education sector. On Friday, October 18, the Learning Opportunity Expansion project to be implemented by Ministry of National Education is jointly funded by World Bank to the tune of 15 million, including 10 million in area concernal credit 5 million from the area window from refugee and their host communities, 9.3 million in co-financing from Global Education Partnership, 3.9 million in expected funding from Qatari Education Below All Foundation. This new project aims to support the government of Djibouti vision to transform its learning system and strengthen its human capital. This intervention will focus in particular on laying the foundation for preschool education, expansion access, improving student retention in primary, secondary school, strengthening teacher skill to optimize learning and strengthening the capacity of the education system through introduction.
Ali Sabih prefectures, in close collaboration with the city's regional councils, undertook large-scale cleaning operations of household waste littering the city of Ali Sabih in the morning yesterday, Saturday, October 19, 2019. This was an initiative at the initiative of his prefect Musa Adan Migane, who, when he took office on 50 September last, expressed his firm desire to make the urban environment of the Asajuk city much cleaner. We also know the presence of the spot of the two members of the government from the region, the Minister of Labor, Administrative Reforms, Osman Ibrahim Roble, and his colleagues from the Minister of Public Health, Muhammad Warsama Diriye, as well as the active participations of the Member of Parliament, Abdou Sikiye Diriye, Elmi Mhabe Wa'ais, and Roda Ahmed Ali, humanitarian organizations operating in UNHCR refugee camp, UNAHS, and WHO. The Army Health Services Directorate of Unit Medicines hosted this morning's graduation ceremony for the young recruits from the Djibouti Armed Forces. More than 20 trainees spread over the various Army Health Training Center received specialized technical trainings in 3 specific areas: 17 healthcare assistants, and which lasted 9 months. This 9 months training fans in this chair by the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim. Ceremony was attended by the Chief of the Defense Staff, Brigadier General Tahir Ali Mohammed, Major General Hassan Ali Kamil, CMG advisors, and a number of senior ADF officers. Upon his arrival at the Central Health Directorate of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, accompanied by General Tahir Ali Mohammed, was welcomed by the Central Health Director's Colonel Major Ahmed Hassan Boulali. Once General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim was installed in the official gallery, the chairman of the supervisory commissions of the various courses took turns to speak to proclaim the long-awaited results. The best trainees in each discipline were able to benefit from exceptional advancement to the next grade for their merit and dedications after 9 months of sacrifices and courage. Colonel Major saluted the courageous of the self-sacrifice of the young recruit and encouraged them to give more of themselves. He then thanked the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, who honored this highly symbolic ceremony with his presence. The end of training ceremonies ended with a refreshment offered by the military high command, gifts given and musical entertainment from the armed forces Harbi troop. Finally, as usual, the ceremony ended with the traditional family photo. This morning, Monday, October 23th, Colonel Zakaria Hassan Adam, Chief of the Staff of the National Gendarmerie, once again highlighted the women's handball team of the National Gendarmerie after his participation from September 26 to October 3, 2019 in the League of Champions of the Champions Club of the Arab League's country, which took place in Amman, Jordan. The Colonel Chief of Staff of National Gendarmerie offered a breakfast to the entire team and his staff to congratulate them with this championship. The National Gendarmerie women's handball team was the first women's handball team to participate in a prestigious international competition. Through this participation, the Gendarmerie handball team has inevitably contributed to the influence of the National Gendarmerie, but also of the entire country. For his part, Colonel Zakaria Hassan, the Chief of Staff of the National Gendarmerie, then took the floor and immediately congratulated the entire team for their participations in the international championship, which will enrich their experience. Colonel Zakaria Hassan Aden, Chief of the Staff of the National Gendarmerie, said that through this participation, handball team has raised the images and reputations of the National Gendarmerie, but also that of the Republic of Djibouti, he concluded. As part of its vector control campaign, the Ministry of Health is continuing its intra-housing spraying activities in the quarter 6, where spraying agents and community mobilizers are on the ground. More than 3,000 households are concerned in the neighborhood 6, for which ministry's officials are conducting door-to-door campaigns in order to generalize these new intra-housing spraying techniques in Djibouti. The first impressions collected from the population indicate a general satisfaction on the part of the beneficiaries who did not fail to highlight the effectiveness of this new vector control technique. For the international scene, Canadians are deciding on Monday who will form the next government in legislative elections with an unpredictable outcome. More detail with Idris Mahmoud.
Some of 27.4 million Canadians are expected to elect their 338 members of parliamentarian after an often tense of election campaign. If the polls are true, they should put an end the absolute majority held by outgoing Prime Minister Justin Trudeau since his surprise victory in 2015, because the campaign indeed has begun some of 40 days early on the almost perfect equality in voting intention between the two major parties that have been alternating in power since 1867, according to the commentator. This sometime not seen in decade. The last poll placed Mr. Trudeau Liberal Party center between 31st and 34%, the Conservative right between 32 and 33%, according to the projection.
This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.